Carl Smith was a consul and a lumber dealer. He was married to a woman named Wilhelm and they had a son named Gustaf together. Gustaf had 2 sons, Wilhelm and Ernst, who both became artists. Carl Smith is fairly famous in Karlshamns history in his own right, but not in the same way as Lars Olsson Smith or L.O. Smith. And even though L.O. Smith isn't buried here, we are still talking about him. Because if Carl Smith hadn't existed, we would never have a brännvinskung or a spirits king from Karlshamn. Carl Smith lent money to a family in Kiaby, outside of Karlshamns in Skåne. And that family bought a farm called Sjöarp. When Carl wanted to see how the family was doing with their new farm, he traveled there. Upon arrival, he was met by a boy named Lars, 7 years old at the time, who was the only one at home. The rest of the family was at church in Bräkne-Hoby. Lars told Carl about the farm in such a way that Carl was impressed, and he gave Lars 3 silver coins and promised him that if anything happened to Lars' farm or the family, that Lars could live with Carl. And when Lars' family and the farm went bankrupt, Carl kept his promise. Lars walked all the way to Karlshamn and knocked on Carl's door and was shown inside. He studied in Karlshamn for 3 years, and he started working as a shop assistant at Skottsbergska gården as a 10-year-old. At 13 years old, Lars left with a boat who transported raw spirits to Stockholm, and he stayed there for 7 years. He started working as a shipbroker and learned to speak 7 languages. When Lars was 22 years old, he wrote to Carl Smith and asked to take his last name, which he was allowed to do, and Lars Olsson became Lars Olsson Smith, or L.O. Smith. The story about L.O. Smith is long, and his company is the foundation for companies like Absolute today, among a lot of other things. And the video would be really long if we were to tell it all. But without this man, Carl Smith, and his generosity, we would never have a spirit king from Karlshamn.